Hello, hello, everybody. Give me a shout if you can hear me. I'm just going to admit everyone into the room. Pop a 1 in the chat or just say hi if you can hear me. Slowly but surely, I think everyone is getting connected. Hey team, how's everyone doing? Hey Chloe, hope that you're all good. Just gonna get everyone in. How's everyone's day been? Give me some updates. Mine has been, well, I've needed what I'm about to teach you guys is how to manage my time, because I actually didn't realize how closely I had booked in my physio appointment with this. So that's why I'm in a hotel room, because I decided to stay overnight rather than driving back home and rushing to get here. Okay, so we've got a good few of us in here. I'm just going to wait another minute or so. Let's get some wins in the chat. What has been good for everyone this week? I'll tell you one of my wins is the fact that I have actually managed to finally sort my shoulder out. So hopefully my training is going to be a little bit better moving forward this week. I went and saw Monica, who's like one of the craziest physios ever. And let's say that she basically folded me in half and now I'm feeling a whole lot better. Hey Meg, you okay?
Yes, thank you. Are you?
Yeah, really good, thank you. I am excited for us to have a little bit of a catch up and hopefully just to help just kind of like get some motivation going. I know that everyone's been feeling a little bit kind of like down because of the weather, right? It's miserable. So I'm excited to kind of like talk about the game plan for the next few weeks. And then obviously Christmas party's coming up, which is going to be exciting. So we'll kind of go through some general updates, and then we'll also kick off the webinar when everyone is here. So yeah, I wanna hear your wins. Does anyone want to speak up, put some in the chat? How's this week gone? Don't leave me hanging, guys. It's been long. It's been a long week. Yeah, I can relate to that, but it's okay. TGIF, it's Friday tomorrow. Hey, Chloe, you all good? That was like the quietest hello, but super.
Oh, my win is I started reading Atomic Habits, and honestly, so I was on the plane to Dublin literally for like not even an hour, and I think I read like 6 chapters. I was hooked.
So good.
It's such a good book.
And we're going to take a little bit of Atomic Habits with us through today's kind of webinar, which is going to be good. And it's all about kind of like habit stacking. And that's one thing that with you guys being as busy as you are is going to be super, super helpful. So I think we've got most people here. Oh yeah, Rosie passed her driving test today. So big congrats to Rosie, and only got 2 minors, which is much less than I got, so you're going to be safe on the road. Did some meal prep as well, which is also when things kind of change unexpectedly. So yeah, being prepared, I love that. I also unexpectedly booked this hotel because I was unprepared. So okay, so what I'm going to do essentially today is I'm gonna kind of get a bit of a gist for you guys and how you are currently mapping things out this period of time. Like, do you have a set structured way to do it, or do you not? So what I mean by that is forward thinking, like for every single week ahead is going to be the way that you are going to nail things a whole lot more consistently. So for me, on a Sunday evening, I will get up my Google Calendar and I will flesh it out with everything that I need to do. It's just a non-negotiable for me because it means that I know exactly where I am and what the hell I'm meant to be doing. And it's how you guys get your check-in responses every single week. But as well as that, then I plan my day out. So does anyone do something similar to that? Or does anyone have kind of a method where they do plan things? Either stick it in the chat or just unmute, whatever you fancy doing.
So I use Notion.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
That's where I do the kind of like personal coaching hubs and all the onboarding stuff.
Yeah. So if anyone doesn't know Notion, it's like an online platform that's you make pages for anything, and it's separated out into blocks. So I personally use my Notion page for planning on a monthly and weekly basis, and then daily within that. And then just for each week, I've got a template that I've made on Notion that I make for the week, so I can put in like all of my things that I need to do for the week. And then I've got my monthly calendar on the wall there, my annual calendar on the wall there.
That's amazing. I need
and
an
then my weekly calendar there.
Right. Okay. Obviously, Meg should be taking this webinar, right? Because that is
the meal planning is not, but otherwise, I'd just fall apart because I'm just busy with teaching and then also doing a master's. So, yeah, I think it's meal planning is just fitting it in when I can because I've got a broken foot as well, so I can't mobilize. So.
Yes, Meg is a superwoman, as you guys can hear. She
5 days, and then it comes off.
I know, I'm super excited. We're going to get you moving and eventually running and, you know, doing your galloping like I absolutely cannot do, but you're inspiring in terms of that. So the one thing I was thinking there, Meg, is I know that obviously on Notion, you can share templates. So if you'd be open to maybe popping it in the Facebook group, just so people can get a little bit of inspiration and maybe copy that template, that could be quite helpful. That's quite good. Let's have a little look in the chat. So Rosie, so write notes on the phone, quick list of what you're doing, and they can move things to different days. Yeah, so I, you know, when I'm having a bit of a brain dump or I've got loads of things to think about, immediately for me it goes like in the tick boxes notes on my phone, so that's a really good thing to do. And then Lisa uses her work calendar for Outlook, and then she blocks out part of her day for training, non-negotiables for steps with your pooch. Yeah, absolutely right. This is one thing that I used to do when I worked my corporate job, right? I know a lot of the things that you guys say to me sometimes is when you're so busy, you miss getting your meals in. So one thing that I used to do when I worked my corporate job is I would put in little breaks for like 20-30 minutes as private appointments so that people couldn't see what it is, because they don't need to know everything in your calendar. But I'd literally take that time to go and eat a meal, because otherwise people will just put meetings in your calendar all the time, because unfortunately when you're not your own boss, it means that you get meetings shoved on you all the time. But if you've kind of got these personal appointments in, unless, you know, it is really, unless someone's being very abrupt, a lot of the time they're not going to put something in your calendar, or they might ask you, and that way you can kind of navigate things around. So it's really important to put those meal timings in. And the reason is, right, you go all day without eating, you come home, you're absolutely starving, you end up smashing your whole week's worth of calories in one evening. So that's why it's so important to eat frequently throughout the day. Hello to everyone who has just joined. We're just going through how everyone plans their weeks. So if anyone has kind of like any contributions to add about how you map your week out, then just pop it in the chat or feel free to unmute. And then Nikki's also said that calendar and notes is what she uses, same as Ione. Okay, awesome. So it's great that everyone's already got their own kind of way of doing things. And that's the thing, everything is going to work differently for different people. Like some of you will look at what Meg does and feel absolutely terrified. And I feel like I'm quite inspired actually. So I might go and have a little look for an annual calendar. And yeah, Chloe does like a end of the day recap. So writes a summary for the next day. This is what I did on prep, because I had to be up at like 4 or 5 a.m. because I had to get my cardio and do all these different things, right? I'd map out my whole day the night before. So that way when I woke up, I actually knew where my head and my ass was, and I could actually start to get on with stuff straight away. So I'm really pleased to hear that everyone's got a certain method. So what I'm going to do today is use a bit of interactivity from you guys and a little bit of inspiration from what your routines look like, to kind of take you through a bit of one of these mapping exercises, and also how we can rank our priorities and what our non-negotiables are to make sure that everything gets put in. So what I am going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to get up a Google Calendar for an example. Now, again, you can either do this in a weekly diary, you can do this in any other kind of formal calendar, whether it's Outlook, anything like that, but this is going to transform your life if you are already saying that you're going to do this to make sure that you can get everything consistent each week. So give me a shout when you are able to see my screen. Yeah, okay, cool. So this is kind of like what my calendar looks like already. So I am going to remove my bits from it here so that we can get it looking empty. I think that's pretty much it. Right, so the first thing that we've already spoken about is the non-negotiable of making sure that we are essentially putting in when we're going to sort out our shit. So that's the first step. On a Sunday evening around 6 p.m, I'm going to literally put in an appointment for plan the week ahead. And for most people, this won't be a problem because you will be, okay, that's just popped up with my other bits. We can ignore those. But that's the thing. At the end of the day, you need to kind of already have that there so you can make sure that you're getting it done. I think Britt and Becky have just joined. Sorry, I think of the annoying thing is that I can't see the chat when I'm sharing my screen. So if anyone does have anything that they want to say, just unmute for me. So the next kind of part that I want to consider is for people who obviously have their jobs. And a lot of the time, most people's jobs look different every single day. So for some of you, it might mean that you're mapping out when are you working on Monday, when are you working on Tuesday, what are the hours looking like every single day. So what I want someone to put in the chat for me is what does their weekly schedule tend to look like? Whether you want to give me Monday through to Friday in terms of work, or whether you want to kind of just say, right, I work 9 to 5. But someone pop something in the chat for me so that I'm able to see and use that for getting some blocks put in. So I'm just gonna hop back over. So Britt is Monday to Friday, Becky 9 to 5. Okay, cool. Let's go in the middle. We'll say 9 to 5:30, right? So we're gonna pop this in as a reoccurring appointment. 9 to 5:30, and we're just gonna call this work. And it repeats every weekday. There we go, saved. Right, so that's the work block. And now, can someone give me a bit of a heads up in terms of when do you have lunch breaks? When do you have breaks throughout the day? Assuming that you're going to have some breaks because we're going to need to put some time in for, meals throughout the day. So let's have a little bit of interaction there. Whether you're making it up or not doesn't really make a difference, but it's just so that we can get a little bit of a structure in terms of what a general week will look like. So Scott works 24/7. Okay, cool. So 1 hour lunch at 1 p.m. This is the first one. Breaks are so random. Okay. 12 to 1. Okay, well, let's go for a 12 to 1 consensus, right? So if I add something in here for 12 to 1, and the beautiful thing about Google Calendar is that you can make things different colors. And this is what I love to do because it means that I can tell my shit apart. So there we go. We've now got lunch in. Okay, awesome. So the other thing that I want people to consider is what other things you have in your life which are essentials, which you have to do. Is it walking the dog? Is it picking the kids up from school? What are other things that, for those of you who might work similar hours to this, have to get done, which you do not have a choice but to complete?
Oh, sorry, Tom.
Feed the dogs. Okay, awesome. Morning steps. Well, steps are technically a non-negotiable, but they're not something that you have. Yeah, Lisa, to be fair, you've got to walk the doggo in the morning. Washing. I love that. Okay, well, let's go for those of you with pets, feeding the dogs and walking the dogs. So 7 to 8:30. So that is going to be technically, that could be something that's almost like a school run as well. But, it's that thing that you have to do. You don't have a choice when you've got someone that's relying on you for that. So, and we've got to make sure that the little doggos get fed and walked. So doggos. Let's give them a purple color because why the hell not? Beautiful. Okay, so there we go. We've got largely most things kind of mapped in here in terms of responsibilities, work, lunch breaks. This is going to be the majority of your day. So now let's talk about when it comes to slotting in training. I want to use the example of someone who's like on an upper lower split. This is a pretty hefty and busy week, right? There's a lot going on here. There's not much time to train in the morning unless you are part of the 5 a.m. club like I am and want to do that. Or you can train in the evening. But also some people might not want to train in the evening, or some people might have other things. For instance, here you'll see in my calendar EIQ weekly live. That's a nutrition course where there's a weekly live, and that's in the evening. So I usually spend my evenings on business calls or mentoring calls. So for those of you who think I just do check-ins and sack the day off, unfortunately, it's not true. I actually spend a lot of my time learning. So for instance, what I think largely tends to be quite useful is to put a lot of your energy expenditure and activity on the weekends, right? There's no reason why training on a Saturday and training on a Sunday can't be part of your weekend. And that way you've only then technically got 1 or 2 sessions to slot into the week, because that then releases a lot of kind of stress and friction that you might have from having to fit in training inside, you know, and around these hours. So I'm just going to check the chat and see what you guys are saying. So love training on a weekend, no need to rush, would keep you on track over the weekend. Yeah. So does anyone, yeah, gyms are emptier on the weekend. Does anyone have like reasons why you wouldn't train on a weekend, aside from maybe like you're going away somewhere, or, you know, you've got other obligations? Like every now and then, if that's the case, you might want to put most of your training within the week. Again, you prefer to train on the weekend. Exactly. I always try not to train on the weekend. Okay, Nikki, I'd be interested to hear kind of like why. What are your thoughts for not training on the weekend? Is it because you'd rather have that as like complete downtime? Fits better for you during the week. That's fair enough. You have like really interesting shift patterns, let's say. So naturally that's going to be, yeah. And Britt says, I get having downtime on the weekend. Yeah, so for me, my training a lot of the time is my downtime. I really do enjoy it. But if there are weekends where I'm away, then I will have to look at the things that I, obviously on a Sunday, I'll have to try and see if I can fit it in during the week. So Ange says, I tend to do my longest sessions on the days off so I can give my all in short sessions before and after work. Exactly that. A lot of you guys will have some sessions which are a little bit longer and some which are a little bit shorter. And that's why, again, it's really, really important to make sure that you are just being proactive. Like for me, I know when I've got a leg day, oh my God, I don't want to do it in the week most of the time. I do my shorter leg day in the week, but my big leg day, I need the weekend, because firstly, I need a lie-in, and secondly, I need enough food to be able to power through that, because it's a heavy session. So just off the back of that, we've kind of said there that most of the time we'll train on the weekend. So if I've got plans, let's say maybe going out to meet a friend for lunch or for a coffee, or maybe in the evening I'm going to spend some time with the family, 9 times out of 10 you get to the gym in the morning on a Saturday or a Sunday, unless you've had a heavy night the night before, and it is dead, right? So I'm going to pop in here, like let's say 9:30 until, say I'm training for an hour and a half, so let's say until 11. This is going to be train. And let's give that one pink. Let's put it to repeat. Actually, I know what I'll do. The other thing with Google Calendar is awesome, because you can literally duplicate everything. Duplicate, save, and then I'm going to drag it here to Saturday as well. And it's great because you can shift the times around super easily. So that's 2 training sessions in. So obviously, if you train Saturday and you train Sunday, you're going to want to rest Monday, possibly even rest Tuesday, and then you want to fit in the other sessions. So does anyone have suggestions for where these other sessions would be fit in? Does anyone have preferences for if it would be something that you do in the morning, or, you know, whether you do it in the evening, depending on looking at this calendar? Give me a bit of a heads up. Okay, so Britt prefers evening workouts. Yeah, I only Google Calendar. I literally always use it on my laptop, and then it just coincides with my phone, depending on what I've changed. So Claire says morning. Chloe says evening. A free Monday evening to start the week off. Prefer lunchtime. Okay, so everyone's got their own preference. And this is the thing. You have to figure out when you're most productive or when you're highest in energy to allow you to train your best. So let's make sure that we're kind of like, you know, sticking to one, because it's going to be something where if you're training one day really early in the morning, and then you're training the next day really late in the evening, your body clock is going to be confused. Your routine is going to be confused, and it doesn't allow that consistency, and you don't really know where things are. So let's go for we had 2 people say evening, so let's just go for evening. So what I would say here is, I'd say you'd have 2 training days. Monday and Tuesday are going to be, you know, quite busy starts to the week. Then let's say we're going to pop training here, 7 until 9 train. And then it's great to do 2 days on, 1 day off to rest up. Beautiful. Duplicate this one again. And then we'll drag that one here. And then you've got a Friday evening off as well. So there we go. That's like someone who's got 4 training sessions to get in during the week. Now let's talk about step count, right? So you've got to hit around, say, 10,000 steps on average per week. Now, I'd be very interested to hear from you guys, because I know that you all do it differently in terms of steps. For me, I tend to generally potter around throughout the day, and then I like to go on a walk. That's how I like to do things. So I tend to do 6,000 to 7,000 steps in one go, and then potter around the rest of the day, because most of the time I'm sat in front of my laptop and I use a walk to get away from it. But I know some of you break it up into chunks of like half-an-hour walks, and it takes about 10 minutes to walk 1,000 steps if you're walking at a moderate pace, right? So if you wanted to do 3 half-an-hour walks, that's 9,000 steps. And then you generally get 1,000 from, you know, just moving like a normal human. So what are our step preferences? Get them in the chat for me so I can see what people kind of prefer to do and how they prefer to get their steps in. Because there are also people who might be able to use a little bit of inspiration from what you guys decide to do. I've got the flexibility where I'm able to, you know, go for a walk in the middle of the day, but sometimes people don't. So, Britt, it depends on my work pattern. If I'm on an 8 to 5, I do steps on an evening, and not many throughout the day as I work a desk job. If I'm on the 8:30 to 9 to 5:36, I do 6,000 in the morning and then 6,000 in the evening at the gym. Chloe, put around the house, nipping out for 30 minutes when I can every so often. Yep. Morning dog walks. I only really struggling with steps because you're not allowed to use electronics, but in the evening it's dark and you don't know the area, you don't feel safe. Do 1 big walk when you're working at the vaccination center, either morning or night. Scott, end up sleeping in as long as possible, work until 7, gym late, and then you do steps very late in the day, but you get about 6,000 in the day. To be fair, I won't lie, when I was on prep, right, I was so busy and I had to get up so early. My days look very similar to Scott's. And steps are one of the easiest things to do. So going home and walking around my living room for a little bit, even though it sounds crazy, right? It was convenient. Say if Scott's just trained 8 to 10, there's no reason why he can't stay on the treadmill for an extra half an hour to 45 minutes whilst he's getting back to his emails, getting back to his clients and other things like that, right? So Lisa, 1 in the morning with Lola before work, and then evening. Awesome. So what it seems to be the case here is that thing and step videos on YouTube are brilliant. Technically, they're like cardio videos. It's just like watching someone march, but you trying to do it really quickly. So here we've got the consensus that everyone's routine looks different, and it's so some. You trying to say something, Scott?
No, sorry.
I was so ready to hear how tough it is for Scott to get in his steps. That's why he's number 2 client and he's struggling to get to number 1. Right, just catching up on this chat. So they're easy to sack off, but remembering how effective they are. That's the thing. They are the easiest way to burn calories that is low impact. And generally just being active throughout the day, parking further away, walking around whilst you brush your teeth, right? Or just nipping out for 20 minutes for a quick walk to clear your head. If you let me find my words. If you work in an office block, go to the furthest toilet away from you on the other side of the building. Helps you get away from your desk, helps you go for a walk, stretch your legs, come back. So it is really easy. So what we will do is go with a little bit of what people have said here, where it tends to be a bit of a morning walk and then maybe a little bit of catch up around the gym. And there's also the option for it to be at lunch. So where it says doggos here, we can pair this with steps, right? So if we're going to say that we're walking the dogs and feeding the dogs, say the dog walk is half an hour, that's going to be equivalent to 3K steps. I want you guys to remember that 10,000 steps is about 10 minutes of walking at a moderate pace. So I'll pop that in as 3K steps. And I'll set that to be a different color again. And let's make it, where's the reoccurring thing? Why do I not know how to do this anymore? Every weekday, right? So that's 3K steps. Then at lunch, say we're going to nip out for 20 minutes, 2K steps. And then let's assume that from just general pottering around in the day, you end up getting something like another 3,000. So 5 plus 2, we're at 5. Then obviously 3K steps from general pottering around. There might be scope that there has to be a little bit of an evening walk, right? There's also an importance that I want you guys to know is that when you are walking, right, after you've eaten a meal, it helps your digestion massively. It drives those nutrients through to the areas of your body which require them, because your blood is flowing around a little bit more. There's a little bit more stimulation there to transport those nutrients. So it is really important actually to not just have a meal and then slump out, because you'll feel really, really sluggish. So that's another thing that I would say is that we can work in steps around when dinner time would be or post dinner. So let's kind of say that we'd finish off another, let's pop it as 2 to 3K steps around this time. So that's how easy it is, just to make sure that you are mapping out at least the intention of when you need to get things done. And there shouldn't be a reason why, if you're doing this, you're going to miss things. And to be fair, that only needs to be like half an hour if it's 2 to 3K steps. So it's only a tiny bit of time. Okay, so just curious, does anyone else think that there's anything here which needs to be considered when it comes to, obviously, you guys smashing your goals, what's related to that kind of stuff? Let me get into the chat. Self-care, I love that. There has always got to be time for self-care. One thing that I find you guys struggle with a lot when it comes to consistency, is exactly what Nikki said, is meal prep and downtime. So everyone has time to watch Married at First Sight in Australia. I haven't heard of that one, but maybe that's because I spend too much time watching YouTube instead of actual terrestrial TV. So let's talk about meal prep methods then. They're very similar to steps. They're very individual and they're very dependent on people's routines. So I know when I was working a corporate job, I was so busy that I did not want to or feel like I had the time to meal prep every single day. So I meal prepped for a few days in advance. I'd batch cook, freeze it, then just take it out the fridge and the freezer as and when I needed it. So I would do that on a Sunday and on a Wednesday. So to those of you who work a similar job like this, for instance, you 9-to-5ers is what I'm going to call you. What are your meal prep kind of routines? Do you have any? For me at the moment, I tend to like to meal prep in the mornings. When I first get up, I have a good hour or two to myself and I'll plan out my meals. I still meal prep even though I work from home, because I like to just pull my stuff out the fridge so I can crack on with work. Come on, guys, get bits in the chat. When do you meal prep? Give me a little bit of interaction here. Okay. So Becky, you would like some tips in terms of habits of getting into meal prep. Claire on Sunday, Britt once every 3 days. Okay, cool. So there's a good approach of some people doing the kind of like batch cooking thing, haphazard depending on when you get your food delivery, when you're back from work. So definitely need some help. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I definitely think that daily meal prep is something which is going to be something. Yeah, Scott just buys cold food and goes to Tesco, which is more expensive than meal prepping, but he hates cooking and he's also on the road a lot. So that's a convenience there. yeah, so essentially what I think is you can meal prep every single evening or every single morning, but it is going to be something which you have to get into the swing of, at least doing it intermittently first before you were to move on to that, right? So if you guys don't even eat 3 to 4 square meals per day, or if you're kind of new to the team and you're not used to eating frequently, you just want to get that figured out first. But then you've got to figure out how can you set up your environment so that you make sure that this is convenient for you. So as some people have said, on a Sunday where you're sorting your shit out for the week, where a lot of you will be checking in with me on a Sunday. So on a Sunday evening, set aside 2 to 3 hours. I'm going to map out my week ahead. I'm going to plan my meals from my meal plan. I'm going to meal prep. No worries, Lisa. Have a lovely evening. And then I'm going to make sure that I'm doing my check-in. So that's 2 to 3 hours of the week, which is all for you and guaranteed to make progress. And that might be a bit of a sacrifice, but it works out in the long term. So Rosie, you try to sort out what you're eating the day before, snacks and things like that. Yeah, exactly. I track my own food in my MyFitnessPal. The night before, I will put into my MyFitnessPal what I'm going to eat. So that way, when I wake up in the morning, I can just prep it. So what we'll do is we'll pop in here an hour meal prep. I don't know why this one's in capitals, but let's just do this in capitals. I think I'm running out of colors. And so let's say that this does repeat, and let's also pop it to repeat on, well, we can't put it on a Wednesday because that would then be overloading ourselves, right? If we're trying to get steps in whilst we're at the gym, train, and then come home and meal prep, that might be a little bit long. So the other thing that we might want to do is look to see whether we can shift that so it's a little bit earlier, directly after work. Maybe it doesn't work that day. Maybe we'll pop it here instead. Okay, so there's all of these different options that you have to then start to see where this fits in. You can see how it kind of starts to become Tetris a little bit. But if you're not planning things and you're not pre-preparing things, this is why it starts to become so difficult. There's another thing which I would love for you guys to, we can just ignore that because that's technically on my own calendar. So that technically, to be honest, that's where habit stacking comes in, right? This is just a webinar that I can tune in and listen to. I meal prep whilst my webinars are on because I'm busy. So that's a perfect example of habit stacking here. This is a perfect example of habit stacking, looking after the doggos, feeding them, going for a walk. The other thing, which I think is important for all of you guys to start to put into your calendars so that I don't have to chase you, is your check-ins. If you're due to check in on a Sunday, right? Sunday morning, take those photos, fill in your form, check in with Millie. Beautiful. This is what I want to see. I know that I send you guys all the automated message, but anyway, look, I can't even spell my own name. That's in there. So again, all of this is tailored to you and what you need to get done. So perfect. We can go a level deeper here and we can map out when you would want to be eating your meals throughout the day. So on average, most of you will eat 3 to 4 meals, and I like you to space them equally throughout the day. I'm going to give you an example of what this would look like, right? Say if we're going to stick in breakfast here before work, let's just title this meal, repeats, custom. Let's say, see, unfortunately, Google Calendar won't let you do the thing where it repeats like in terms of like hourly. But what I tend to do when I break my day down is I will literally think about, right, how many meals do I need to eat today, which tends to be 4. And then what I will do is I will just, oh my God, I really have run out of colors. Let's go for orange. What I will do is I'll then be like, right, okay, if I eat this meal now in 3 to 4 hours time, what time is that going to be? And then obviously here, it's going to be around lunchtime. Duplicate again. So whether this one's going to be a snack around 3 o'clock, perfect. Duplicate again. Then we're kind of here at dinner time. And if you do have a snack or you want something smaller before bed, you all have snack options on your meal plans, or you have enough calories for them. So there we go. And now you've technically got these meals largely equally spaced out throughout the day. So things are starting to come together now. I think one of the things that we are missing is a little bit of self-care. So let me just grab the chat. So habit stacking, change my morning routine, pre-plan days in my fitness pal the day before. Right, so that's another thing that we can do. We can say the day before, maybe first thing in the morning, right? Pre-plan / I don't know, pack food if you're needing to do that before you go to work. And this then starts to feed into what bloody time do you need to wake up? What time do you need to go to bed to make sure that you're getting in 7 to 8 hours sleep, right? This is why this is so important. So again, if you're needing to kind of be active and sorting your shit out by 7 a.m., you kind of want at least to be up a little bit earlier. Why? Probably for some self-care. And some time for yourself. Just download a Google Calendar, sit on it and get everything ready. What happens if you're super lazy and put steps in for 6:30 a.m. and end up waking up at 8 a.m. because that's you? The thing is, Scott, you're not understanding the way that your body works best there. Either you're not getting enough sleep or you're just not a morning person. And you don't want to force yourself to be a morning person if you're not. If you don't mind getting in your steps around midnight, then that's fine because your body clock is just shifted. Don't try and be part of the 5 a.m. club if you don't actually enjoy it or like it. It's fine as long as you can make sure that you're getting to bed at midnight and that you're getting up at 8 a.m. That's 8 hours sleep. You've still got the same amount of time in the day, because I get up at 5 a.m., right? But I am in bed, and I will be at 9:30. And then I'm asleep by 10. So I can at least get in 7 hours of sleep. You guys all, as humans, have different times where you're more efficient or where you have different kind of energy levels that fluctuate. So there's just a couple of bits more that I want to do with you guys in terms of this before we round off. So when it comes to self-care and making time for yourself, and you know that I preach a lot about this, you cannot be your best version of you if you're not looking after yourself first. And if you're getting up and as soon as you wake up, you're rolling out of bed, like Scott, and rushing around to try and like figure out what you need to do to crack on with the day, you're going to feel anxious, you're going to feel stressed, you're not going to feel like you know where your head or your ass is again. You need at least a little bit of time to calibrate, to figure things out, and to get started with your day. So can people give me an idea of what they do in the mornings, like for themselves? You guys will realize that I don't tend to reply to you until like 7:30 or 8. And that's because even though I get up at 5, I am up in the morning meal prepping, I'm stretching, I'm reading a bit of my book, I'm listening to a podcast, sometimes going on a walk. My morning routine looks different most mornings, depending on what I'm doing, but I'm doing it so that I can wake up with a fresh head, give some time to me before I give all of my energy to you guys and making sure that I'm looking after you. Put a coffee machine in your bedroom. I'm pretty sure that there are some coffee machines that have like an alarm built in, right? So that you can basically have the coffee go off as soon as the time is that you need to wake up. If you get one, Scott, then tell me if it's good or not, because I might get one too. My Nespresso needs an upgrade. So Meg says, I need to leave the house at 6:30 or 7:30, depending on the day. So you do the same for yourself as you put your coffee machine on a timer the night before. What? That's wild. My goodness. Russell Hobbs Brew has a timer on it. Right. Obviously, I wasted my money on an espresso. That's crazy. I hope that you're drinking water first thing in the morning too. But anyway, tell me, what are some morning routines, guys? Can we have a little bit of morning goodness? What do people do to start their day off? You've been using a kettle? Come on, Scott, you're an electrician. Surely you should know about fancy like coffee making machines. I used to be a barista as well. Snap. You should see my CV. It's very colorful. Feed dogs, kettle on, dishwasher, hoover, mindful moment outside for breakfast. Wow, Chloe's cleaning the whole place before that's amazing. Chloe, don't show me up like this. I didn't realize I had time to hoover in the morning as well.
You've not lived with Jack.
What's that?
I said you've not lived with Jack.
Oh God. Well, I mean, yeah, you have 2 puppers, don't you? So I suppose there's more reason to do it. Yeah, okay. So let's coffee, lie in bed for a bit, breakfast, shower, get ready for the day, just lay in bed, skincare, walk and podcast. Okay, beautiful. Again, so podcast definitely can go with the kind of looking after the doggos and all of that good stuff, because you can listen to a podcast whilst you're out. But let's kind of go I literally write this in my calendar as me time / I either do it as me time, but I'm going to put it as like morning routine, because let's pop this as coffee, reading, stretch, right? Because that's just something like an hour to yourself where you can enjoy a little bit of goodness. And that's phone off. A lot of you guys will see that every single morning I post a motivational quote. I will save motivational quotes and I will essentially look at that to start my day off and be like, right, this is my mantra for the day. I literally then switch my phone off after that and I don't go back onto it until I need to start replying to people. So this is how things are looking. And doesn't it look beautiful? I mean, it kind of looks a little bit intense, right? But it's got that structure there. So this now shows you with intention where you're meant to get everything done. You wake up, you have time for yourself. Then you start to plan your food for the day ahead. Right, sorted that. I've started to pack the food from what I've meal prepped the night before. Now it's time to feed the dogs, go on a little bit of a walk, listen to a podcast about being the best version of you, yada, yada, yada. Come back, eat a meal, off to work. Do work, grind out the day, go for a little bit of a lunchtime walk, enjoy your meal, have a snack in the afternoon, come home, have dinner, maybe a little bit of chill time, quickly round up your steps, food. And that's how most days will look, aside from a couple of evenings where you need to train. So this is what I would love for all of you to establish in your own way, so that you can ensure that you are stacking things together where you can, that you're making sure to get everything done, and that you're making sure to look after you in all sorts of ways. So let me just check the chat. Make Matt bring you a coffee. Love that. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen now, guys. But that is pretty much what I wanted to take you all through. And I hope that it's been helpful. I hope that some of you have taken some bits away from that and you've got a little bit of guidance there. If you do have any questions or there's anything that you want to chat about, then just drop them for me below and we can cover them. But yeah, hopefully that's been a little bit insightful. And if you actually saw my real Google Calendar, probably looks about the same as that. Awesome. So Meg's put the link to a Notion template. You might want to also just pop it in the Facebook group, Meg. That would be fantastic.
I don't know if it works because it's technology and me. But I was just gonna paste it here. So if anyone does have Notion, they can try it and click on the link. And then if it works, then I'll put it on the Facebook page. I've realized that like some of my things will be set in. So like for the weekly thing, I've always got on Sundays like check-in photos, because that's my like what I need to do, and like there's going to be like a set to-do list for each week that I need to do every week. So if someone uses it, you have to ignore that. You don't have to do open campus for medical students.
I love that.
Although if you could do it on my behalf, that'd be beautiful.
So
Meg, did you post your weekly one?
I posted monthly, but within monthly there's a link to go to weekly as well, but I was going to post it separately as well. Let me just get the
yeah, got it, thank you.
Right. If you go within the monthly setup, there's where the habit is, below that there's weekly, and then there's templates within the weekly.
I don't think we can see the templates in the weekly, but we've got the monthly one.
Okay,
looks good, thank you.
Thanks.
I just want to say I've had the best meal ever. Just meal prepped it as well.
What is it?
I'm a boss bitch. It is chicken orzo, right? You can put tofu in it, and literally, I kid you not, 10 out of 10. Like best thing I've ever eaten. Like, so it's like orzo, like loads of veg, chicken. You put it in like turmeric, allspice, smoked paprika. Like, banging, 10
Also,
10.
it's
And have
just
it
like
again.
a pasta that looks like rice, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, I got this book, and it is sick. Like, honestly, like so many good recipes. Like, it's got the calories, protein, carbs in it, but obviously I can still track it individually. But I'm so boring. I eat the same breakfast and the same lunch like every day. So then I try and eat like a different dinner. And honestly, 10-10.
Yeah,
Just-
this is
just
what
had to
this is
share.
why I love when you guys start posting and tagging recipes and stuff like that, because
Love
even
it.
I get bored of my own food. I literally just had like some cold cementy cream of rice that I had to drag with me in some Tupperware. So I'm very jealous that you've said that. Let's just say I'm excited for my mindful and intuitive eating day on Saturday, because I'm going to a Turkish restaurant, so that will be fun.
Oh, that's good though.
But yeah, no, thanks everyone for joining me so much. I really, really appreciate it. I just want to kind of emphasize that last point, is that I love it when you guys post things on social media so I can see what you're up to when it's your training, and obviously just helping each other out with meal prep ideas, because when it goes quiet on socials, I'm a bit like, are the team doing anything? Are they working? And I only know when you're sending me through your training videos and stuff like that. So just keep up the momentum. I know obviously it's getting a little bit like cold and stuff like that, but the thing is, yes, Christmas is in 6 weeks. We'll have some downtime, but then there's big things to come for the new year. Obviously, I've said that we've got the website coming. The team is going to grow. I've got exciting ideas and kind of challenges planned for us. I also was thinking that maybe this month we do a fake away challenge, considering that we're talking about all of this food. So I might think of some prizes, and then we can do like 1 week, maybe towards the end of the month, where it's like everyone posts their fakeaways and then we like rate them all and stuff like that. And then someone, I don't know, probably wins a Domino's voucher or something, I guess. I'll figure it out. But yeah, that would be fun. But thanks everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day. Please go to bed, because it's, you know, past most of our bedtimes, hopefully. And yeah, I will chat to you all tomorrow. Well, I'll just kind of say hi, make sure that you're all ready for the weekend, and then see you in your check-ins. Look after yourselves and speak soon. Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.